she'll share some of her remarks with us, and she's open to questions from the club. Cindy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I've been a Superior Court Commissioner for 10 years, and basically I do the work of a judge. I make decisions on a daily basis that affect people's lives. I'm the one that law enforcement would call at 2 in the morning to request an emergency protective order to prevent domestic violence. I issue move-out orders if appropriate, child custody orders if appropriate, and this is a temporary order that lasts from 5 to 7 days. Also, I make decisions in traffic court as to whether or not someone will get his or her license back. I sit in misdemeanor court as needed, make decisions as to whether or not a person should go to jail. Also, on telephone duty, I review cases for bail deviation. So I'm involved in the court, I'm employed by the court, and I do the work of a judge. So I would like to take it to the next level. I've been involved in drug court. I'd like to be involved in opening a homeless court. I was a DA for 21 years. I worked in mental health court, so I have that background that I bring to the job. I opened, at the request of the presiding judge, the first realignment, AB 109, parole hearing court in the state of California, and I brought in mental health professionals and substance abuse counselors, so when supervised persons were coming in for hearings, they had a one-stop shop. Probation officer, substance abuse counselor, mental health, social worker, so they had a full array of services there in the courthouse, which is central arraignments. In my work as a deputy district attorney, I've tried pretty much every type of case known to mankind. One of the more interesting cases I tried was a homicide of a fetus, where a drug dealer was involved. It was a transaction between someone who was selling drugs and somebody who was buying drugs. And the buyer was disgruntled, left the scene, and drove over the abdomen of a woman that was 6 months pregnant. The abdomen was stuck in the oil pan of the vehicle, and this lady was dragged for 6 blocks. So as a district attorney, the jury convicted of the murder of the fetus and then attempted murder of the lady. And it was just a very interesting case with all different kinds of medical testimony, and I loved just being able to present that case to a jury. As a judicial officer and as a judge, I will go the extra mile. It's not just a 9-to-5 kind of job for me. I am involved in judicial education. Right now, I'm teaching a class in revenge pornography, and it's a type of activity. It's what's called non-consensual distribution of a sexual explicit image. So this is what's going all across the world now, and it disproportionately affects women and minorities. And so now you're seeing it in every facet of the law. There's a crime on the books now in the state of California. There's a tort action as well, and you're seeing it in family law, in child custody disputes, things of that sort. So I'm taking the extra time to educate judges and members of the legal profession about what's going on and what can be done to prevent this. In terms of social justice, I know the members are interested in it. In the back end, I work with the parole revocation hearings and trying to get services, hopefully rehabilitate people. So I found a need to get involved on the flip side, the front end. So I am involved in teen court, and a lot of these issues with revenge pornography, we see students, teenagers exchanging pictures. Well, like in Colorado, you may have a DA that may charge both kids with possession of child pornography. So these are societal issues that I help deal with in teen court, where kids can be made aware of the seriousness of their conduct and how parents and teachers have to be aware of those kind of things. One other thing we saw in teen court was where a teacher put her password in because the student was having problems with the computer, and her password linked to all her devices. The student posted a nude picture of the teacher's breast. So we were able to deal with that in teen court with counseling, rehabilitation, a letter of apology. So I go the extra mile for you. I have the background in terms of opening courts. on the bench. I worked in a drug court for rehabilitating our members of society, and our particular, I ran a graduation class. Over 90% of the folks that graduated from drug court had jobs or were in school, and that's really what matters, is changing behavior and feeling like people belong in this world. So I appreciate your vote. I'd love to pass out your cards. I'm happy to answer your questions. I like what I do, and please allow me the opportunity to do more.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
The staff is Lisa and Nancy and Tony. But before we go into questions, I think it's just really noteworthy to hear from a candidate who is so assiduously pursuing talking with grassroots audiences, and who brings what's clearly a judicial temperament to the job. You know, it's rare that we have people in public service who are able to both go out and seek people's support, but who obviously convey the kind of temperament that we would hope to see from our judges, and bring the balance